Hi all, I'd like to welcome you to this course. So, as the name says, Introduction to Deep Dark Web. In this course, we are going to learn about the Deep Dark Web in detail. After the completion of this course, you will be able to access the Deep Dark Web using Tor browser. And plus, we are also going to explore the spooky side of the dark web. About dark web, it is said that you can find anything from missiles to hard assassins, from drug dealers to deadly hackers, literally anything. Well, shockingly, it is true. Okay, we will discuss about these things afterwards in detail. First of all, let me give you the overall summary of the whole course, like what points we are actually going to discuss. Okay, so as this is just a summary, we are going to get the overview of these topics, right? And of course, all topics will be again discussed in this course. So, what are we going to learn? What is deep dark web? Okay, in this topic, we'll be discussing in detail about the types of web, history of deep dark web, contents of deep dark web, and basically the theory portion of this course. Difference between the deep web and the dark web. Well, we will discuss about the basic difference between both the webs, and we'll also be discussing about the contents of each individual web. Like in deep web, mainly contains records. Records such as health records. Mainly, we can say that the deep web is the document section of the internet. Again, this was just an overview. We will be discussing in detail in the upcoming lectures. Tor browser. Okay, in day-to-day life, we mainly use browsers like Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, or in the case of Mac users, Safari, right? But these browsers are only made to access the surface web. To access the dark web, we need a special browser known as Tor browser. The main advantage of Tor browser is the anonymity factor, which keeps the identity and several delicate data, such as your location, secured. Blockchain technology. It's the way or method through which we can say that Tor browser protects your privacy. We will learn about it in detail in the upcoming lectures. Anonymity. As I said earlier, the main reason of using dark web is the anonymity factor. It helps in many ways. In short, words, it's like internet freedom, which allows you to surf the dark web as a totally anonymous person. Cryptocurrencies, also known as digital currency. On the dark web, any type of transaction is mainly performed in cryptocurrencies, and in cryptocurrencies, mainly in bitcoins, as it keeps the anonymity factor secured, as the cryptocurrencies are difficult to track and trace. We'll also learn about the transfer of the cryptocurrencies as well. The methods to generate them, like crypto mining or crypto trading, will also be discussed. Surfing the deep dark web. Well, surfing the deep dark web is very dangerous, and it is not by any means advisable. But for the sake of this course, we will be surfing the dark web. We will be visiting some weird websites and so on. Dangers and their prevention. As a deep dark web, because of its anonymity factor, is also known as the criminal's paradise, we will be visiting or discussing some most important factors of your device safety while you are surfing the deep dark web. Again, all the topics that we just talk about will be discussed in detail, and this was just an overview of them. And it's totally okay if you don't understand what we discussed right now. Nevertheless, we are going to discuss them again. Before ending this lecture, I'd like to convey that surfing or visiting the deep dark web is totally legal. There's nothing illegal in it. Till you are, of course, not buying stuff like illegal weapons or drugs or any kind of illegal stuff from the deep dark web. You are good. Once again, thank you very much. I hope you learn something new, something innovative from this course. See you in the next lecture. Thank you very much. So in this lecture, we are going to learn the basics, or we can say the theoretical part of this course. Okay. So as you can see on the screen, it's an iceberg, right? Well, for some time, let's imagine it as a diagram of the whole internet, like from top to bottom. So the tip of the iceberg, as it can be seen, we can denote it as the surface web. Thus, we can say that 5% of the whole internet is the surface web. Let's say we are on the surface of the water or sea, whatever. Okay. So from the surface, you can clearly see the surface web. That is the tip of the iceberg. We can partially see the midsection of the iceberg. That section can be denoted as the deep web. It can be said that 90% of the internet is the deep web, and there remains the end point of the iceberg, or the darkest point which cannot be seen from the surface. This totally hidden point of the web, or the internet can be denoted as the dark web. The dark web, same as the surface web, occupies 5% of the internet. In simple words, the visible part of the internet, hereby visible I mean easily accessible. So the easily accessible part of the internet is the surface web. The partially visible area can be called as a deep web, and the totally dark or the hidden area of the internet can be called as a dark web. So the surface web is easily accessible by the browsers like Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Opera or Safari. We can find websites such as Amazon or YouTube, Wikipedia and even Facebook on the surface web. Talking about the deep web, we can say that the deep web is unindexed, or in simple words, the deep web is not shown by any kind of browsers like Google. Deep web includes anything behind a paywall or requires sign-in credentials. It also includes any content that its owner have blocked web crawlers from indexing, like medical records, fee-based content, membership websites, and confidential corporate web pages. So in short, the deep web cannot be directly accessed. It can be seen as a locked part of the internet. Unlike before taking a Netflix subscription, you are on the Netflix website located on the surface web. When you buy the subscription, you are given an email and a password which works as a giving you access to the Netflix data located on the deep web. Moving to the dark web section, we can say that the dark web is the subset of the deep web, which is intentionally hidden. It can be accessed only by using a specific browser, Tor. Actually, no one really knows the size of the dark web, but most estimates put it around 5% of the total internet. After briefly learning about the dark web, one question arises. Why do we actually need the dark web? What's the problem with the surface web? So, there are many points which can be considered as the answer of this question. We'll discuss some of them briefly. First of all, to understand the importance of the dark web, let's quickly talk about the history of the dark web. In computer network known as ARPANET, ARPANET, Advanced Research Projects Agency Network, was developed in early 60s for better communication between computers. During the time of Cold War, the government started using it for security purposes, mainly dealing for arms. The biggest factor of security here was again anonymity. It was launched for public use in late 90s, and due to the anonymity factor, it gained interest among people. It was mainly used for visiting a banned website or service in a particular state or a country. Like in some countries, Facebook is banned, but people can access the Facebook version on the dark web without being identified. Which takes us to our second point, internet freedom. While you are surfing the internet, there are possibilities that you are being tracked, even by the government sometimes. The websites you visit, your digital footprint is being tracked. Even Google tracks it, totally violating your privacy. Well, that's where the dark web comes. Total anonymity can give you full access, like right of thought or right of speech on the internet. The next point would be anonymity. The dark web keeps you totally anonymous. Your digital footprint or the transaction details cannot be tracked, and that's super awesome. What will you find on the dark web? Well, sadly, majority of the dark web is filled with illegal stuff. You can buy credit card numbers, all manners of drugs, guns, counterfeit money, stolen subscription credentials, hacked Netflix accounts, softwares that help you break into people's computers, and many more. You can easily buy login credentials of a $50,000 bank account in Bank of America for $500. You can get $3,000 in counterfeit $20 bills for $600 only. You can even buy 7 prepaid debit cards or even PayPal accounts, each with $2,500 balance for $500. A lifetime Netflix premium account goes for $6. You can even hire hackers to attack computers for you. You can even buy fake identity cards like passports to create a completely new and unique ID of yourself. But majority of the service providers are scammers, so don't ever fall for this. Plus this course is only for educational purposes, so I do not recommend anybody to go searching or opting for this type of services. On the positive side, not everything is illegal. The dark web also has a legitimate side. For example, you can join a chess club or a black book or even a social network described as the Facebook of Tor. So guys, that's it for this lecture. See you in the next one. Thank you very much. So in this lecture we are going to learn about the difference between the deep web and the dark web. So first, talking about the deep web. First of all, the deep web is totally unindexed as we discussed in the previous lecture. The deep web cannot be accessed by any type of browser, and it contains websites or services which are protected by a paywall or require sign-in credentials. Storage space for the web. Yes, the storage services offered by Google or any other company like Google Drive or OneDrive store their data on the deep web. This deep web is also known as the storage section of the internet. It is also known as the boring section of the internet. Think about it. Talking about the dark web. First of all, it is a subset or a part of deep web. Intentionally, the dark web is kept totally anonymous, which is its best feature, of course. Unlike deep web, the dark web is unindexed, but a special browser known as Tor browser is required to access the dark web. On the surface web, you see many websites with different extensions like .com or .in or .au, but all the websites which are indexed or listed on the dark web use the .onion extension, which separates them from the websites listed on the surface web. Sadly, due to the anonymity factor, majority of the websites listed on the dark web are illegal or are just scams. Not all, but majority of them. Well, we are going to explore them in this course in the upcoming lectures. So in the previous lectures, we discussed about what are actually the types of webs and what are its constituents. So in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the most common myths related to the deep web and the dark web. So let's get started. So what are the most common myths about the deep web and the dark web? Let's see. The dark web and the deep webs are the same things. So yeah, we can definitely say that the dark web is a subset of the deep web, but we cannot say that both the deep and the dark webs are the same things, because first point, the deep web is totally unindexed, whereas the dark web is indexed. So the deep web requires some pay or credentials like an email and a password. For instance, password protected parts of the websites such as your email needs to be hidden so that nobody can Google your email and have your inbox pop up, right? Therefore, certain pages need to be restricted from public access. But we can say that the dark web is the part of the deep web, but with extra layers of security, of course. The dark web's main purpose is to help criminals conduct illegal businesses. Due to the myths and misconceptions about the dark web, it is commonly categorized as the criminal part of the internet, where a huge group of criminals who conduct illegal businesses unchecked and without any fear. However, many people would be surprised to learn that the dark web has a larger and more important purpose. For those living under oppressive countries with restricted or controlled internet access, or for those who seek to be government whistleblowers, the dark web allows them to publish their thoughts and surf the internet freely. Since special browsers are used to access the dark web, such as Tor, hide the IP addresses of their users, journalists, whistleblowers, and the everyday person who simply wants to visit sites that are in their country may be blocked or prohibited, can do so without any fear of punishment. And talking about the criminal side, several government or private agencies like FBI's are keeping constant track of this illegal activities on the dark web. They're also monitoring certain suspicious websites and also have successfully banned many illegal services and websites. It's illegal to access the dark web. Yeah, if you were already on a FBI watch list, then maybe you shouldn't go to the dark web. But for everyone else, it isn't at all illegal to go on the dark web if you keep in mind some few points. However, even if you simply view some illegal content on the dark web, keep in mind that you never know which websites the FBI is tracking. So although you might be okay if you visit some of the darknet content, you also might be exposing yourself to an undercover FBI sting. Tor only offers dark web service. While Tor has become synonymous with the dark web, there are other services that exist as additional layers of anonymized traffic. On the top of regular internet, Freenet, for one, was invented as a censorship-resistant publishing platform and uses peer-to-peer communication and a distributed data store to store the network resources and make it browsable. Another, I2P, made famous for its reference in the Netflix show House of Cards, is another anonymity network that falls under the dark web definition. On the top of that, programmers have built another specific tools like OpenBazaar, a decentralized marketplace, much like Tor's famous Silk Road, that is unable to be taken down by the police due to its design. What is Silk Road? Well, it was a very famous drug selling website, we can say, on the darknet, which was recently shut down by the FBI. Everything on the darknet is bad or illegal. According to how it is portrayed in the media, the dark web is not solely dedicated to criminal or illegal activities. Therefore, however, on the basis of truth, it can be said that around 50% of the website hosted on the dark web, that is .onion websites, that is Tor URL suffix that signifies a Tor hidden service, are in some way linked to illegal goods and services. An idea for a secret network inaccessible to the regular users was conceived in the 1990s to provide US operatives with a secure and untraceable channel of communication. When the project was abandoned, researchers saw the potential for a completely anonymous network to grant freedom of speech and secure communications to political dissidents in the opposite regimes. Human rights and privacy activities. Notoriously, WikiLeaks hosted a Tor hidden service where whistleblowers can make anonymous submissions. Even the New York Times, Facebook, and the CIA have their own Tor hidden services. Recently, even the BBC has launched its dark web version, which makes the website available even in regions where there is strict censorship. Thank you guys. That's it for this lecture. In the next lecture, we are going to discuss about the Tor browser and how it works. See you there. Thank you very much.